we're going to open it up to questions. If anybody has a question that I can answer. Anybody have a question?
Yeah. Is there any part in this book that is related to children, kids?
That's related to children and kids?
Yeah.
There are a couple of reasons. In fact, there is one vignette that I tell about a woman who has been married for about 15 years to her husband, and they have 2 children together. And he criticizes her, though. He criticizes everything she does, from the way she looks to how she dresses the children, the clothes that she buys, the decisions that she makes when she attends all of the meetings at school, because his job doesn't allow him to be able to do that. So everything really is in her control, but because he's unable to be involved, he still criticizes what she does. And she told me one day that really her plan was to eventually get out on her own. They did divorce, and she probably will marry again if she can find somebody that's compatible with her. There's another reason in here, and it's a little bit of a topic that relates to abuse. There's a woman who, I start out the story stating what she said to me. I'm lying next to a man who I'm now afraid of every night. And he ended up, they were fine for a few years. He got a job. They moved far away from home. And after they got there, she kept thinking it was because of the stress of his job that he turned into a different person, and kept waiting for him to change back to who she used to know. And they have 1 child, but she's reached the point where she's waiting to have enough money and for the right time to be able to leave him, and she's so afraid of what he might do when she's going to try to leave him. So there are a lot of people out there that are eventually going to tread into the mainstream and hope to survive as a single person, but they've got a lot of hurdles to cross first before they give it a try. But they have to find a safe haven, the right people to meet and the right place to be, especially if they really fear that somebody could harm them.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple of the reasons where I talk about some people who have children.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question? Yes?
What kind of music do you play?
Well, I'm a real eclectic singer-songwriter. I started out playing piano when I was 7. My grandfather was a big band leader, and he never knew that I eventually became a professional, musician and performer and singer-songwriter. But I've always enjoyed all kinds of music, and when I grew up, I heard a lot of big band music, that my parents loved. And my aunt was an opera singer, so I also loved that part of our world, and I was trained classical on the piano, so I was living in that world. And then when I got into a band when I was 16, everybody loved the Beatles and Carole King and Carly Simon and The Who and Elton John, and so I was inspired by them, and so I might write a pop song, a rock song, a country song, a lot of the tunes that I have in the Single 101 CD and that I play in the show, because I wanted to turn this into a one-woman show. I wanted to jazz it up a little bit, and a couple of the songs sound like a Broadway show tune or a jazzy song or whatever. I do have one country song in there that I wrote about, I get into a few more reasons in here about underwear, like the one about unmentionables. But I had discovered once when I was married that every time I would go to the washing machine and the dryer, that my bras and his underwear were always twisted in knots together. And this would happen in either the washer or the dryer. And when we were kind of falling out of love, I started to think to myself, well, my bra and his underwear are having more fun than we are. So then I wrote this whole song about how my laundry room is X-rated, and it's a crazy song called My Bra and His Underwear, so it's on the CD. And the other reason that I had talked about is your spouse making you sick or you stay healthy or whatever, I wrote a song called I'm Allergic to You, Baby, and that's kind of like a jazzy blues song. So I could be going in any direction, but I just like so many different styles that it's kind of the thing where it just starts coming to you, or if it's God or whatever, the ethers of the universe, taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, listen to this. I think about these words and think of this line. Check out this melody. So you have to go with it, whether it's 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, too. Yeah, Beth?
I wonder if you'd ever get married again.
Yeah, someone did ask me that. They said, now come on, never say never. You'll probably get married again. Because, I loved being married. I really did. Unfortunately, my first husband and I were both musicians. And the unfortunate thing about that is that we eventually were going in 2 different directions with our career. And if we could have come to the middle, who knows what could have happened to us, because we were very successful back in those times. My second husband was Jewish, and his family were very strong conservative Jews. And the night that I met my father-in-law to be, he didn't shake my hand and say hello or nice to meet you. He said, I don't like convertibles. Because he knew I was going to convert to Judaism and marry his son. And when I think about that moment, I wonder to myself today, because of course, hindsight's 20/20. And if I would have known what I know now, I would have walked right out, even though, we were in Scott's car. I would have walked out, walked to the nearest phone booth, called a cab, and left. But I hung in there because I've always been the kind of person thinking, oh, come on. After they get to know me, it's going to work out. That can't be. And I used to hear stories about how especially even in their family, they would alienate people if they really didn't follow along with the religion. And I just couldn't believe that. I thought if you two really love each other, it will be meant to be. And unfortunately, because of that, their family had a lot of money, and my family was just a self-employed, hard-working family from Newark, Ohio. And my husband's family was from a very wealthy suburb of Columbus, and they didn't like that either. So I had so many hurdles to try to get across, and I just felt like the marriage was defeated before it was even given a chance. But I walked away. Maybe I could have stayed. Who knows if I would have stayed with him to this day. But I've been bullish and bullheaded and determined and felt, no, I'm better off on my own. This will all work out. Now Scott has remarried. He married a Jewish girl. They have a beautiful daughter who they just sent off to college. And he has an exciting life. He's still in radio, and I think it eventually was meant to be, because life turned out the way it was supposed to for him. But I know I'm getting to that. I really go around opposite side. Every now and then, there was like a cute guy that came to a book signing the other night. Turned my head. Oh. But then I also thought, well, I can't get into a relationship now. I've got the book. But no, and I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of male friends, great male friends. And they and me both, we really protect that because we don't want it to turn into a love relationship, because then that could that could really hurt the friendship. And the friendship is just too good to be true. So if you guys know that, if you've just got this perfect thing with the opposite sex, you just don't want to ruin it, and they will be your friend forever. But I don't know, the fat lady might sing eventually, and you still never know who you meet. And like I mentioned in the foreword, my book really is in no way trying to encourage people to stay single, never get married. I'm not trying to make it taboo, but I am saying that if you ever do find yourself single, I started writing down these ideas, after meeting the people and hear the stories that I heard. I started writing these down really to encourage myself and support myself, so that if I missed being with my husband or a former boyfriend that I had and wanted to be married, I wanted to be able to encourage myself, no, you'll be okay, you're going to make it. Because look at all the good things about being single, and that's really how this whole thing started. And actually, my last boyfriend, I thought we might get married. I thought that was really going to lead to all